If you guys know me, you know I like two things: a good television and a good deal. And well, TCL has done it again. They've dropped the new QM6K, and I tell you what, this thing is light years ahead of last year's model. And you know what? While the price is higher, it's still an awesome deal. Stick around and check it out.
Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos.
TCL is making huge moves in 2025, and this is the first of their big moves. So this is the 2025 QM6K. This is their, I guess, not really entry-level television, but this is kind of their base model for their advanced TVs, right? This is where all their cool technology kicks in. Now, if you're looking for a new television and you don't want to spend a ton, but you want technology that is just out of this world good for the money, this might be the TV for you. One thing I really like about this TV is that while it's one of the lower cost models, you get so much technology built into this thing now. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous what all you can get inside of a TV like this today. And, you know, they call out all this stuff on the side here. It's 288 capable, 144 hertz native panel. It's the new HVA with the AIPQ Pro processor. I mean, this thing's really cool. Dolby Vision, it's got Onkyo in it. And we're going to get this thing out and see what all is going on.
I want to go over the special sauce for the TV while we get this thing unboxed and get the feet put on, right? So this TV's significant evolution since the Q6 last year is the new HVA panel. So it's got a true QD mini LED panel, and it has a bunch of new features inside of the panel that really make this TV something to take a look at, particularly at the price point of $750 to $800 for the 65-inch. Now, last year's is going for like $400, but man, there is no comparison between the two TVs. I mean, this TV is worth well more than $400 more than the old television. But to get back to the panel, this is where the secret sauce is. So this is a true local dimming panel, and it has what's called LD500 dimming. So it has up to 500 zones, it says. Now, I think the 500 zones is probably in the 98-inch. I don't know how many zones are in this one, but the number of zones that it does have does give the television impressive contrast and mostly eliminates all the blooming, right? So it has a really, really, really impactful image when you have those light and dark scenes, you know, everything kind of touching, and you don't want that bleed over. It does a really, really good job with that. And they call that halo control. The motion engine's really nice. It's got what they call the AIPQ Pro engine. Works really well. The panel itself is 120 hertz native. It does 144 VRR. And what that means is that this panel is much better for gaming than a 60 hertz panel. And I think for most gamers that aren't pro gamers, and pro gamers aren't going to use the TV anyway, this TV is going to give you everything that you need from a refresh rate for gaming, right? And I test this later on with the Xbox. Looks great. The TV also has all of the features that you expect from a mainstream television today. So it's got all of your different flavors of HDR, including Dolby Vision. It's got IMAX enhanced mode and filmmaker mode.
As I noted before, this television has what they call the LD500 precise dimming technology. So this is, instead of just being backlit, edgelit, this actually has dimming zones as opposed to last year's version. So this is significantly better than what you would have gotten out of the previous version. Now, what the technology does do is actually provide really good performance for blooming, motion blur, and all that kind of stuff, right? As you can see on the screen, it's handling this test quite well, much better than a television, obviously, without the technology that's just edge lit. So I'm going to give this one a thumbs up for what you get. You get a lot of great contrast. Blooming is negligible, looks really good. Is it OLED? No, but you're also not spending OLED money for this television. So yeah, I think this is a win across the board. Now let's take a look at HDR brightness. So we're using a, Kaleidoscape Strato V, watching a little bit of Spider-Man here in Dolby Vision on this 65-inch. And measurements come back somewhere between 475 nits up to almost 600 nits, just depending on the actual picture mode that you have this in. And for a entry level to mid-range TV, that's about on par, right? This is in no way going to compete with the higher end televisions that are going to be pushing multiple thousands of nits, but this will get bright enough, particularly in a dark room. Now, in a very bright room, you could have some issues. Now, I'm going to give it like a halfway passing score. It's good enough that it doesn't cause any problems for you, but I would not put this into a room with a billion windows in the middle of the day and hope for it to be bright enough on HDR content, because you might be a little disappointed. But in any room that you can have the windows shaded, or in the evening, I think you'll be okay. But this would be nicer, a little bit brighter. Of course, there's the 7s and the 8s models that do absolutely bring that kind of performance to the table. Now let's talk about SDR brightness. So I've got the Batman downloaded on my Kaleidoscape Strato V in SDR version, so not the high dynamic range, but the standard. And we get somewhere in the 600 sustained nits for SDR brightness, which is again fine. Compared to the HDR, I think you're in the same ballpark for the performance of the television. Again, this is not going to wow anybody with a very high-end television, but in a light-controlled room, the difference in bright versus dark is going to be enough to make you say, "Ooh," when it really lights up the screen. So it can bring that impactfulness to your viewing experience, even though it's not on the high end of the brightness scale. Now let's take a look at screen uniformity. Some people call it dirty screen, and we're looking at actually a few different things with this nice video from Modern Wise. So we're looking for dark spots on the screen. We're also looking at how does the motion look with all of the motion smoothing and everything turned off. And I think the motion's pretty decent. It might benefit from a little motion smoothing to be turned on. This does have the new technology from TCL, their new engine, which I think has helped over last year's. So that's a benefit. Now, as far as the screen itself, I do see in the extreme corners, all four of them actually, a little bit of darkness. And it might, and this is not something that bleeds out into the screen at all. It's just at the very tip corners. And this might not come across in the video that you're seeing, but at least I can call that out. Obviously, this isn't going to be something that would be noticeable in typical television watching use, but when you put it into this type of scenario, you can see it on the corners. The rest of the screen, though, very uniform. I don't see any problems there. So I'm going to give this one, not a full pass, as that the corners are a little darker at the points. But I'm going to give this one 2 thumbs up, maybe 1 9/10 or thumbs up instead of 2, something like that. So quite good. Now let's take a look at gaming performance. I think gaming performance is where this television really shines. You're getting about 10 milliseconds of input lag on the TV when you're in gaming mode, and that'll give you a really good experience while gaming. And then also the picture quality and image, super smooth, looks great colors. So yeah, I would say all in all, this is a standout performer when it comes to gaming. And we're on an Xbox right now, playing Apex Legends, or at least getting beat at playing Apex Legends. Now let's take a look at off-axis for colors. And you know, I think this is actually pretty good. I'm getting way over here now, and it doesn't give a ton of change. So I'm going to give this one pretty strong 2 thumbs up for off-axis performance for this mini LED panel. Now let's take a look at reflections. So I've got two windows across from the television open. And so they're about 13 feet away. And you can definitely see the reflection there, right? You can see both of those in the image. It's not super bad, but you know, I think coupled with not being super bright, this could be a problem. I wouldn't really want to watch television with that much reflection and brightness in the room without a really super bright TV. So not a deal breaker, but just something to consider when you're thinking about picking out the right television for your space. Now let's close with a few final thoughts. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is, who is this television for? There are really three groups of customers that I think are going to be interested in this TV. First off, there's going to be the folks looking for a good deal on a television. Since this is the entry-level TV, lower tier, mid-tier TV, the cost is lower, so that's going to be very appealing. But that's going to lead into the second group, and that's the group of people that want a really good experience with a lot of technology. And what TCL has done is they've really elevated their entire product line by taking and putting this new panel into this TV and giving it local dimming and all of the performance that you would have to have paid a lot more for last year. And then finally, the gaming performance of this television is really awesome. So I think the folks that'll play Xbox or PS5 will find this television a strong contender for their business. All in all, I think TCL really has elevated, like I said, their entire product portfolio by driving technology from their higher televisions into these lower end models, so that nowadays in 2025, you can get a superb television for a cost that was unimaginable just a few years ago. So I give this 2 thumbs up. It's a great price for a great product with really good features that I think is going to find a home in lots of different locations. All right. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you've liked it, remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things. There'll be another video down in the corner. Check that one out. I think you'll like it as well. See you in the next video.